Welcome back to the chat. There is a lot happening locally in the world of sports, from commitment issues with the Jaguars camp to potential dark horse national title for the Florida Gators. And what's the real story behind the spring forward calendar change for the players? Yeah, lots of news in the world of golf even. And joining us is the man in the know. We welcome 9:30 a.m. Sports Radio Afternoon Drive host Seth Harp. Thank you for joining us in your bright pop-out
Ladies,
tie.
always great to see you. Looking lovely as ever.
I love this little pop of color right
You're
here.
looking very
presidential.
You're looking very presidential today,
shall
we say.
He does look presidential.
You look very nice. I don't know about presidential.
Well, yeah, okay, I agree with that.
Let's start off at Congress first, and we'll work our way
Yeah,
up.
there you go. There you go. Well, let's start with the Jaguars. They had their first game last night. But the big story, Brandon Albert, who doesn't know whether he wants to retire or not. Like, I'm retiring or not. Blah, blah, blah. What's up?
A lot of drama. They traded for Brandon Albert with the Miami Dolphins a couple of months ago. Tom Coughlin, one of his big moves, because he wanted a little veteran leadership on that offensive line.
And he's what position?
Left tackle.
Okay.
All right, and then they drafted Cam Robinson in the second round out of Alabama, left tackle. So, you know, that whole pedigree there that Cam was going to learn from Brandon and then eventually take over. Brandon didn't show up to a lot of the offseason workouts. He showed up to mandatory camp eventually, and then 2-3 practices in, he walks away. Well, fast forward a week, being away, the first week of contact practice, he wants to come back.
Maybe he looked at his mortgage statement.
Or he looked at his bank account saying, oh, I'm a little short.
Or you take a little time away and you realize that there's a $3.4 million signing bonus that you got that you're going to have to pay back.
Oh.
So there's $3.4 million reasons why that the Jags
his
can
agent
recoup that
called him
money.
and said, do you know that if you retire? And he's like, what?
So now the Jaguars have a decision to make coming up here in the next few weeks. They put him on the
And it's up to them rather than him.
Yes, he's
Why
on the
is
reserve
that?
Because he technically walked away from the team.
Okay.
He's on they put him on the reserve retired list, which means they can bring him back if they want to. Look at him like a spare tire in the back of your car.
Okay.
If they need him, they'll go to it. If not, it's just going to sit there.
Do you think they're going to like not go to him kind of a little out of like, you need to learn a lesson?
It depends on how well Cam Robinson progresses over the preseason.
They're going to Kaepernick him.
Oh, they're going to do that. But
I mean, they're counting on a rookie.
yes. And
Which
the minute somebody goes down, somebody gets hurt, he'll slide back in. He's a reserve policy at this point.
So did he do something like job abandonment, what we do in the corporate world, we call job abandonment?
Could a little talk about it because he made his announcement to retire. They put out, the Jags put this big press release out.
Yeah, he retired.
Thanking him, all that, and then 5 days later he wants to come back. It's like the man that walks out, ladies, that wants to come back.
No.
Or does he just hate training camp?
That's another thing too.
Brett Favre, the joke with Brett Favre used to be, because he would always retire, and then right before training camp,
come back.
or right before the season start, I really want to come back. I don't want to retire.
And Brandon Albert is in his early mid-30s now. So
and
Tom Coughlin and Doug
hot.
Brown, it's been an intense training camp where they hit helmet, shoulder pads, the whole 9 yards for 6 straight days. So yeah, it's a nice little avoidance, if you will.
Yeah. All right,
talking about avoidance, I don't really want to talk about this next one about the Florida Gators since I'm a Seminole fan,
you're
but I know you want to talk about the Gators, so tell us what you got.
Well, it's funny because all of a sudden the Florida Gators are starting to pop up on people's radar. And
what is the? Come on.
They're starting to jump up a little bit in the Las Vegas odds, too, to make the college football playoff. People are starting to buy into the Florida Gators, and a lot has to do with Malik Zaire, the quarterback that transferred from Notre Dame that comes in, gives them a little veteran leadership. He did have some success at Notre Dame before he broke his leg, and then Deshaun Kaiser took over for him in South Bend, who's now the second-round draft pick of the Cleveland Browns. So Malik Zaire comes here to Gainesville, and he takes the reins of a Florida offense that has a ton of talent, and it's probably the most talented Gator football team since Urban Meyer was the head coach 7 years ago. That's how much talent they have. Is it Alabama talent? No. Not quite. But Florida may be a better football team they've been in the last 3 or 4 years, but they still may not win the division because I think Georgia's got the best quarterback in the entire conference in Jacob Eason. So the Gators are the dark horse contender. The good news is that Florida State game will actually be competitive this year since it hasn't been for the last 4 or 5.
And the Florida State Seminoles will win.
Well, Florida State may be
Moving
Alabama
on.
in week 1.
Okay.
No, Florida and Florida State, you're going to see that rivalry start to bubble again. It's going to start.
Good. I am so excited. I need that in my life right now. And something else that I need in my life is the players has finally moved. Oh, thank goodness. I am so happy. It's been March, April, May, and now it's moving again. I am so excited.
It's moving back to March.
Back to March.
And it'll be cooler.
From March to May 10 years ago. And a lot of that had to do with the weather, that they wanted to get out of March because of the rain. And
March is always dicey. I mean, sometimes
you never know what you're going to get.
Sometimes it's rain. Yeah. Sometimes it's hot.
Yeah, and golf has this big gap in the month of May because in April is the Masters, in the month of June is the U.S. Open, in the month of July is the British Open or the Open Championship, in the month of August is the PGA Championship, which is going on this weekend. So the month of May was this gigantic void. It's the highest or the wealthiest person in all of golf too. So these guys wanted to play in that as a tune-up for the U.S. Open. Well, now the PGA Championship is moving from August back to May, thus making the players move from May back to March. And they did that because they don't want to compete with football.
It was hot as heck out there in May.
Yes. It'll be much better. Much better in March.
Oh my
It's not as hot. It's not as hot as Mother's Day out there on the course.
But you know, you have like rain and wind and all that, so it can be a little dicey.
And it had unprecedented growth the last decade too.
Yeah.
This thing is blown up. They call it the fifth major. It has dominated at least the sports narrative that weekend. Moving back to March, it will be going up against March Madness.
But let me ask you this.
I
mean, the talk is always that the players wants to be a major.
Yes.
What does this do to that ambition? Is that just dead in the water? It ain't gonna happen.
It doesn't help. I don't know how much it hurts, but it doesn't help. It's a zit. All right, on the whole thing. I mean, it's not going to ruin your looks, but it's going to hamper it maybe just a little bit. A little bit of a zit.
So before we wrap up, I want to talk about our local guy, Caleb Dressel. What's going on?
Michael Phelps's records,
yes.
At least in some of these events. It's going to be interesting to watch this debate as it goes forward because he's only 20.
Yeah.
And by the time the Olympics roll around,
no youngster.
The Summer Olympics are 3 years away, and he's going to be 23. He's going to be in his prime, and there's talk that he could track down Michael Phelps's gold medal record. Now, a couple of those came on relays. You have to rely on other guys in those relays, but this guy is legit. This is almost like Kobe Bryant following Michael Jordan in terms of a debate. So he's legit. He's the real deal.
And when he comes to the Olympics, he already has some experience.
Yes,
so,
has some success. Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Seth, thank you very much. Looking presidential or congressional or senatorial or whatever.
Deacon.
All right, if you want to hear more from Seth, his radio show, Harp on Sports, broadcast Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 on Sports Radio, 9:30 a.m. He is also active on Twitter and Instagram.